Popflex is in legal trouble once again.
Did you really think that by threatening to sue me that you'd actually shut me up?
But this time, they're going up against a retail giant.
They are worth $4 billion. They've got 54,000 employees. They operate 351 stores, and there's probably one at your local mall.
But who really holds the power? Hello, Internet. Welcome to Style Theory, where we refuse to skort the issue of fashion fairness. Theorists, it's time to pick up our gavels and return to fashion court for the case of Popflex v. Dupes. Now, this isn't the first time we've talked about this issue on the channel, or the first time it's involved Cassie Ho, aka Blogilates.
I'm going to show you the original of the video that I posted to my socials.
This is what I found in the listing.
That was my body in a different face. That is so weird.
Oh, Cassie, that's not the weirdest thing you're about to go through in this episode. But let me give you a quick timeline recap of how we got here. Back in 2021, Cassie, in the early days of Popflex, way before it ever appeared on Taylor Swift, announced her brand new design, the Pirouette Skort. It went into production in October and then live for sale the following August. And it quickly sold out. As part of her promotion, Cassie posted to her IG the details of how she designed this instant bestseller. Amazing, right? Well, yes and no. This kind of massive success can attract the attention of bad actors looking to profit from your hard work, which leads us to January of 2023. On the 5th, Cassie brings back her skort to her website, and 23 days later, so does Shein. Uh-oh. At this point, Cassie had very few options. You see, owning a clothing design is extremely difficult and very expensive. In the US, fashion designs exist in this kind of nebulous space where it's not useful enough to count as an invention worthy of a regular patent and not creative enough to be copyrighted. This is why fashion dupes are so easy to come by. There are no laws out there defending designers. And again, it's expensive to try. As the Fashion Law blog put it, it makes for a pretty messy and not straightforward reality. In most cases, it's perfectly legal to knock off a dress design, or in this case, a skort. By February of 2023, the skort was removed from Shein's site, and the company and Popflex appeared to have settled things. Until June of that same year, when the skort miraculously reappeared on Shein's site. You know, despite the company allegedly saying that they only sold 28 units the previous time. Besides, they were a marketplace like Amazon. They couldn't possibly be held responsible for what other people did or sold on their website. Sure jam. This sparked yet another set of posts from Cassie calling out the injustice of the situation. And lucky for her, karma came through. Despite the difficulty, cost, and legal circus of US patent law, on January 16th, 2024, with the help of an intellectual property team of lawyers, Cassie was granted the official patent for her Pirouette skirt. Happy birthday indeed. This patent proved that, according to the law, her design was unique and had enough new utility and novelty in its creation that she alone had the right to produce it, and had the right to take down any copies. What followed was win after win. Taylor, Creators in Fashion, Target, but with these high highs come the lowest of lows. On February 17th, 2025, Cassie posted about her designs being stolen again, but this time not by Shein.
So, who is it that sent me this legal letter on my birthday? CM Law. Who is it that they're representing? GoTex, which is the label on the dupe skort, which is being sold at
Nordstrom Rack, which is owned by
the Nordstrom Corporation.
Man, Cassie really has some eventful birthdays. But now that you know how we got here, the big question is why? Why is this even a problem at all? You see, legally speaking, Cassie did everything right. As the holder of the patent for this design, she has every right to reach out to brands that produce a duplicate. So that's the first piece of evidence we need to examine. Was the GoTex skort a direct copy of the patented design? Well, when you search the Nordstrom Rack site, the skort is nowhere to be found. But never fear, because my superpower is niche online shopping, and I found the sold out listing pretty fast. Nothing is ever really deleted on the internet, theorists. Remember that. Let's look at the two side by side. Visually, the similar similarity is pretty obvious. The silhouette, the waist tie, the tutu-like skirt, it all looks the same.
They didn't even bother to try to change one thing about it. They couldn't even pick their own colors. These are the same colors as on the Popflex website.
So let's take a look at what is actually protected by the patent. You know, maybe Gore-Tex skirted by with just enough difference. Cassie's patent protects a skort design that includes a skort component that has camouflaged pockets and the skirt portion that includes a tiered overlay of that ballerina-inspired fabric and an adjustable waist. Yep, I'd say those are all present on the Gore-Tex version.
And the audacity to call their dupe a one-of-a-kind creation.
Which brings us to what Cassie's rights actually are when someone produces and sells a confirmed dupe. Typically, the patent owner, Cassie in this case, sends out a cease and desist to the infringing party, Gore-Tex. For the non-lawyers in the audience, a cease and desist, or CD, is, as the Cornell Law School puts it, a cautionary letter sent to an alleged wrongdoer describing the alleged misconduct and demanding that the alleged misconduct be stopped. And it provides notice that legal action may and will be taken if the conduct in question continues. Which basically translates to Cassie requesting that Gore-Tex stop selling the item and remove it from their website and stores before any real legal action is taken. This is important to understand given what's about to go down. What Cassie did was the standard of pretty much any brand when their legal IP is being co-opted for someone else's profit. It's similar to why, before the copyright expired in 2024, if you tried to sell something with Mickey Mouse on it, Disney and its lawyers would be right there with their own cease and desist. It's a powerful tool, one that is invaluable to a small business owner suddenly thrust into the spotlight. Yeah, remember how we said Taylor Swift wore the Popflex pirouette skort? That video not only gave Cassie and her company priceless organic promotion, it also brought out all those companies hoping to cash in on the hype with dupes. Sorry, Glinda. Being popular isn't always the privilege that you think it is. Now, back to the Gore-Tex situation and why we had to completely upend the video that we had planned for this week to talk about this situation. According to Cassie's original post, Gore-Tex did not agree to take down their dupe. Instead, they pushed back.
I am now being threatened with a lawsuit for speaking up about it, when they are the ones infringing my patent.
Yes, according to the post, if Cassie continued to try to enforce her patent, she would be facing a potential lawsuit against her. What? They can do that? Well, yeah, kinda. Where Cassie had the law of the patent on her side, Gore-Tex had its own way to try to Uno reverse their roles in this situation. As shown in the screenshots from Cassie's story, if her company, referred to in the documents as Oh Gorgeous, which is the parent company of both Popflex and Blogilates, if her company continued to try and enforce its legal patent, Gore-Tex would file claims for unfair competition and tortious interference with business. Yikes! That sounds pretty bad. But what does it really mean? To put it in non-lawyer speak terms, Gore-Tex is alleging that by enforcing her patent, Cassie and her company are hurting their business, which is a weird flex, but okay. Let's look at how Gore-Tex legally thinks that they're in the right, starting with the unfair competition. This means that Cassie's company has an unfair advantage over Gore-Tex's brand that they are exploiting. While unfair competition is an umbrella term for a number of bad business practices, it's most likely that Gore-Tex is alleging that Cassie is spreading a false representation of their skort by saying that it infringed on her patent. Then you have the tortious interference with business claim, which no is not a sequel to the Tortured Poets Department, but a term that means a third party, Cassie, is interfering with an established business relationship, which, from their perspective, is basically what's happening. Gore-Tex has a contract with Nordstrom to sell their products in Nordstrom stores. If they were made to remove them because of the cease and desist or the negative attention overall, that is a loss of revenue. By enforcing the patent, Cassie is, to Gore-Tex anyway, creating irreparable harm to their relationship with the Nordstrom brand and their brand overall.
They are going to sue me for lying and also for getting in the way of them making money. Are you kidding me?
No, Cassie, I am not. Legally, you did everything right, and everything that we actually recommended that you do. In our previous episode about Cassie's clash with Shein over a similar dupe situation, we went through all of the legal options available to Cassie when it comes to protecting her designs. In the end, we recommended she try to acquire a design patent, and she did. In the US, that's basically the biggest power move a clothing company can pull off. So why did it fail? Because that's what's happening here. Despite doing everything she needed to do by the letter of the law to protect her intellectual property, and despite winning battle after battle with previous dupes, Cassie could still lose the war. But why? Well, from Gotex's perspective, Cassie is a small fish in the retail game. Popflex is a tiny e-commerce brand sold straight to consumers with only one retail relationship IRL to its name, whereas Gotex is an international brand that's been in the game since 1956. They have the deals to sell their items in multiple brick-and-mortar stores. They are a traditional, old-school retail brand, and Cassie is just another influencer pretending to be a business. Yet, that proves that Gotex has not been paying attention. Instead of being scared silent, Cassie took to her social media, telling her 3.2 million IG followers about the situation, and leading to Gotex having to shut down their comment sections and turn off their mentions on their IG, which kinda leaves the situation in a standoff. Except that we haven't talked about the other player in this situation, Nordstrom itself. Cassie confirmed via her IG stories that the Nordstrom company was also served the original C&D about the dupe, meaning that Nordstrom is aware of the situation, but, as Cassie puts it in her post, has actively decided not to take any responsibility. So the question is, do they have to? Legally, how much responsibility does Nordstrom have over what it sells in its stores? The dupe that started this whole episode was found at a Nordstrom rack, which is a subset of the larger Nordstrom company. It's their second chance option where unsold items from the bigger stores are sold at a huge discount when they cycle out of season, alongside what the company's website refers to as specialty purchase items from many of the top brands at Nordstrom. That's where Gotex comes in. They aren't owned by Nordstrom, they are a vendor, and one of many that sell at both the main and the rack stores. These vendors don't work directly with the CEOs of these big companies. Instead, they make deals with Nordstrom's buyers. This is the traditional way retail fashion works to make it into a department store. Buyers from companies like Nordstrom make deals with brands at showcases, expos, and fashion shows to sell specific pieces in the stores. Think of it as the Devil Wears Prada effect.
You go to your closet and you select, I don't know, that lumpy blue sweater, for instance. What you don't know is that that sweater is not just blue, it's actually cerulean. In 2002, Oscar de la Renta did a collection of cerulean gowns, and it filtered down through the department stores. You're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room.
Now, Miranda clearly did her research, but do Nordstrom's buyers, or any companies for that matter, need to be as thorough? In short, yes. Yes, they do. It's all about a term called contributory infringement, which can loop a secondary party into a patent infringement case. Oh, do we have your attention now, Nordstrom? I hope so, because this is a doozy. In Section 271 of the Patent Act, contributory infringement extends liability not only to an individual infringing party, but also across interconnected parties in the supply chain, which would mean that if this were to go to court and Gotex were indeed found to have infringed upon the Popflex patent, Nordstrom could also be in hot water for having acquired, stocked, and sold the infringing product in their stores. Now, maybe Nordstrom thinks this is unlikely to happen. Maybe they think Cassie and Gotex will take each other out and leave Nordstrom in in the clear to never get their hands dirty. Maybe they really can just wait it out. Except they can't, because all this has happened before. In May of 2023, Patagonia, a company that specializes in outdoor clothing, gear, and food, sued Nordstrom for allegedly selling thousands of counterfeit Patagonia sweaters and t-shirts through its Nordstrom Rack stores. And this was after Patagonia had already cut ties with Nordstrom as a distributor. Patagonia, like Cassie and her company, started by requesting the stores to pull the items, which, depending on the source, it did or didn't do. But as Neil Saunders, the managing director of Global Data, explained it, while it can be difficult for off-price players to check all merchandise, it is still the job of the buyers to do this. This seems to be a mistake on Nordstrom Rack's part, and could be part and parcel of it taking its eye off the ball in terms of merchandising and buying, which, if true, is likely the same lack of care that we're seeing in this Popflex situation. When it comes to the Patagonia case, it took until May of 2024 for the two companies to settle out of court, with no admission of liability for Nordstrom. After the settlement, a spokesperson for Nordstrom made a statement that, at Nordstrom, the quality and integrity of our products is our top priority. We have rigorous standards in place to ensure the authenticity of our products and seek to partner with suppliers that share our commitment to producing quality products through ethical business practices. So then why, barely a year later, is Nordstrom facing the same accusations again? Well, Nordstrom isn't exactly surviving and thriving at the moment. In December of 2024, Nordstrom took its company private, pulling its company shares out of the public stock market in a $6.25 billion deal to try and save its declining business. In this same move, Nordstrom also made big changes to how it curates its products at its Nordstrom Rack locations by increasing the, in its words, penetration of our top-performing strategic brands, which is a weird way to say that they are picking their items more selectively to focus on what their customers actually want to buy. Like, say, I don't know, the cute skort they saw on Taylor Swift? Yet, despite the company actually coming out and saying that the quality and integrity of our products is our top priority, and that they have rigorous standards in place to ensure the authenticity of our products. And yes, saying that they only want to partner with suppliers that share our commitment to producing quality products through ethical business practices, here we are. Nordstrom is staying silent on an issue that they claim is integral to their business. Now, there is another reason that Cassie, Gotex, and yes, maybe even Nordstrom are doing everything they possibly can to not go to court. It is expensive. The average cost of actually going through with a patent lawsuit can land anywhere from $1.5 to $5 million. Heck, even hiring experts to just assess patent damages can cost $100,000 in legal fees alone. So yes, it is understandable that all parties involved do not want to go to court. This is why Gotex allegedly pushed back with the threat of a lawsuit. This is why Nordstrom feels safe to stay silent. None of them expect Cassie to actually go through with pursuing legal action against them. That's why things like cease and desist letters and tortious interference claims exist in the first place. They're the official document ways of saying, come on, do we really need to do this? We all know it's gonna cost us more than we're gonna get. But what both of these traditional brands are forgetting is that they aren't facing off against the same old brands. They have accidentally stumbled into the creator economy. And theorists, that is a whole different kind of battleground. One that is played out in front of a very attentive audience. You can already see the ripple effects. As we mentioned, once Cassie drew attention to the issue, her audience flooded Gotex with enough comments to get them to shut off their mentions and disable comments on their posts. Go over to the Nordstrom Instagram page, and all of the top comments on their recent posts are calling them out on this dupe situation. And here's the thing. Nordstrom isn't even getting the short end of the stick in this situation. For a brand that has been seeing declining sales year after year and that is struggling to stay relevant with consumers both young and old, this controversy could be the lifeboat that they've been searching for, if they play their cards right. You see, Cassie is offering them an answer on a silver platter. Partner with her and show that Nordstrom values both small businesses and creators.
You know, the other option is that you could work with me, right? You could sell the real Popflex Pure Wet Skort Nordstrom buyers wherever you are. I would love to give us a second chance. Let's turn this into an enemies to lovers arc.
Now, let's be clear. In this scenario, Cassie definitely benefits, but so does Nordstrom. Not only do they get to tout themselves as the hero helping the underdog win, they gain the support of Cassie's huge following, one that has already proven it will put its money where its mouth is. In 2024 alone, Popflex reportedly generated over $108 million in revenue. And they just had a hugely successful launch of a brand new exclusive Target line. This is who Nordstrom could be bringing into their stores. This is the power of creators, of their audience, of you. And Nordstrom could have it all. And so could every other brick and mortar retail location. You see, it's not just Nordstrom that these dupes are being sold at. They've been found in TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Bells, and Cassie isn't the only creator out there with this huge audience to offer. All of these retailers could get in on the power of creators if they are willing to evolve. Or they could choose to ignore it and let these kind of situations play out like typical cases, souring a huge audience of powerful shoppers from ever setting foot in their stores again. As Cassie said,
I'll be waiting.
And the clock is ticking. But hey, that's just a theory. A style theory. Keep shopping smart. Next time on Style Theory. If you, like Santi, have rounded features, then you are an oval face. Circle lenses will make your face look more rounded, while oval lenses will just soften your features, but not to the same extreme. It can actually be very flattering, as Santi discovered.